Wake up.
A frantic 911 call during a man's final moments.
Wake up, man. Oh my God.
Please, someone, please.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Kuston Johnson horrifically stabbed to death. The killer, his live-in girlfriend, Kaylee. She claims it was self-defense.
I didn't even do anything wrong. I just protected myself.
And even takes police on a tearful tour of the crime scene.
So I came in here and he was laying down and...
But the clue she dropped on social media changes everything. Then Sherri Papini's fake disappearance in California made national headlines. But at the same time, another woman really did disappear less than an hour away.
How do you wake up one day and just not know where your live-in girlfriend is?
Her loved ones desperate for answers.
Somebody has to know something.
In the search for Stacy Smart, they want one thing.
Closure, however it may come.
Your daily source for true crime starts right now. We begin with a couple that was fire and ice. Kaylee Whitehall and Kuston Johnson loved each other deeply, and they fought with the same level of intensity. And when one of them ends up dead, police have to decide if it was self-defense or premeditated murder. A drunken night with friends turns tragic.
So there's a knife right here. And I grabbed it and it went like this.
A man is dead. Was it self-defense?
I couldn't breathe and I felt like, seriously, like I was scared.
Or did a social media post show something more sinister?
Those thoughts were in her head for weeks before.
Everybody loved Kuston Johnson.
Kuston was very charismatic.
He, lived life to the fullest.
Maybe that's why on a summer home from college, Mandy Tushup met and fell in love with Kuston.
We had a very fun relationship. I always felt really secure with him.
They had a son, Kyle. 8 months later, they split but remained close.
Kuston and I ended up being best friends, and a love for Kyle, and that bounded us together.
Then several years and girlfriends later, Kuston met Kaylee Whitehall.
Kaylee runs
Kaylee runs what?
everything.
She runs what?
Everything.
My first impression of Kaylee was negative because she walked in with a can of alcohol in her hand. I mean, who does that when you go meet your boyfriend's family?
I did not approve of her from what he had told me.
The Bowling Green, Kentucky couple had been off and on again for 3.5 years. And their last fight was a big one. A kick her out, I'm moving on big one. Kuston even enlisted the help of his best friend, Dennis Melbourne.
He was like, hey bro, help me move Kaylee's stuff to the garage. I want her out.
But the very next day, Kuston and Kaylee were back together.
They argue. It was nothing too crazy. Until that night.
Dennis, his girlfriend Brittany Jones, and her son went over to Kuston's and Kaylee's to hang out.
Everybody was drunk but me.
And soon Kaylee and Kuston were arguing and yelling and swearing at each other.
Somehow he put her in a headlock. I'm like, okay, let her go. Let her go, Kuston. No, let her go. He finally lets her go. And he leaves out the garage.
Kaylee told Brittany she was moving out because of nights like this one.
Just rage came over her. Everything in her sight, she starts picking up and throwing towards him.
A whole lot was going on, like glass, shot glasses, bottles were thrown at him, and I was trying to shield him. And we get back to his bathroom. He's holding his face. He has blood on his hands. Kaylee's still going ballistic.
She goes around to the kitchen and she grabs a knife, like a big butcher knife. And he was like, oh, you want to play with knives?
Brittany says Kuston takes the knife from Kaylee and she falls to the ground. Dennis takes the knife away from Kuston.
And I'm like, Kaylee, okay, it's getting crazy now. You and I, let's just go to my house. And she was like, no, I'm not leaving my stuff here.
Instead, she goes into her bedroom to take her TV.
He hits her in her face. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, stop.
Through the hysteria, Brittany manages to pull Kaylee out of the room, but Kaylee makes her way back into the bedroom.
By the time I made it back in the room, Dennis and Kuston were going in the bathroom, and Dennis closed the bathroom door to separate them.
Kaylee picks up an iron and throws it at the door. Then a thud is heard from the other side of the door. It was Kuston.
He collapses, like knees first, and then he falls like face first to the ground.
Kuston had been stabbed in the chest.
And Dennis is like, call 911. She's like, no, he's just faking. He's just drunk. There's nothing wrong with him.
But Kuston wasn't faking it.
He was like really gasping for air. So she was like, oh, I know I'm about to go to jail.
Medical Center EMS. Tell me exactly what happened.
My friend has a puncture wound in his lung, and he needs to go to a hospital ASAP. She's gonna wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, man. Oh my God.
Kaylee can be heard in the background of the 911 call.
Please, someone, please.
Keep going.
Keep going.
It was on that bathroom floor Kuston took his last breath.
It was hard to see him just laying there with his eyes open and lifeless.
Kuston Johnson was pronounced dead at the hospital.
I think God put me there in that situation to speak for him, to tell the truth.
When Kuston's ex-fiancée Mandy learned that he had been killed,
One of my first questions was, did Kaylee do it? And all I could think about was having to tell my son his father was gone.
I saw my mom, and my mom was crying.
Kaylee was taken down to the Bowling Green Police Department. There, she told lead detective Wade Hughes her relationship was abusive.
I didn't even do anything wrong. I just protected myself because I didn't want him hitting me no more. This happens all the time. Like, this is our normal thing.
Kaylee's clothes were taken into evidence and Detective Hughes dug deeper.
So is the only time that you had the knife was in the kitchen?
Yeah, that's the only time.
Next, investigators took Kaylee back to the house. There, Kaylee stuck to her story.
It was a guy my knees and he came up from behind me and he got me in a chokelock. And so I went like this and I couldn't breathe. And I had a candle right here. Then I threw the candle. So I was trying to get him off of me and it didn't work. So there was the knife right here. And I grabbed it and I went like this. So I came in here and he was laying down, and I don't even know because he was so normal. Like, he yelled at me, he even got vice grips to fix the teeth to get the thing off, and so I didn't even think I touched him, and then he just fell down.
How did this get in the door?
This has been here, this was from tonight, this is another dispute.
Where was the knife?
Honestly, I don't know where thing.
Though Brittany didn't see the actual stabbing, she remembers Kaylee not just having the knife in the kitchen, but also in the bedroom.
Okay, how'd the knife get in here?
I have no idea.
Okay, but it was in the room in here.
Yeah, I think she still had it in her hand. When she came out, she was like, I didn't stab him that hard. Like, I think it was still in her hand.
When did you see her with a knife?
I'm thinking like when we were out there and she was throwing the iron, like she had that. I think that's when I saw her the night before she picked up the iron and threw it.
It only took another day before Detective Hughes hauled Kaylee back in for more questioning. The audio was recorded.
The autopsy tells me that your first statement isn't exactly what happened.
Detective Hughes told Kaylee he knew the kitchen wasn't the only place she had a knife.
There was 2 knife incidents that happened. There was that one, and then there was the one when he was stabbed.
Detective Hughes' investigation showed this theory. After Brittany pulled Kaylee away from Kuston in the bedroom, Kaylee then grabbed a knife from the kitchen, went back into the bedroom, and stabbed Kuston in the chest.
The knife's on the counter, and so you get a knife from here, and you're going back into the bedroom with the knife. When you got the knife, did you go back into the room and be like, I'm tired of this, boom?
No, I would never do that. I wouldn't even know.
Help me understand why we went back.
I just wanted to make sure he wasn't going to come after me anymore. That's it.
The part of the story that did remain the same was the motive. She said it was self-defense. But was it? Some wondered after a curious post on Kaylee's social media site raised alarm bells. Written weeks before Kuston's death, Kaylee wrote, "Go back to sleep, baby. I'm planning your funeral."
Whether she was trying to play around or not, those thoughts were in her head.
Reportedly, Kaylee said it was a joke. Either way, more than 2 months after Kuston's death, Kaylee Whitehall was arrested and charged with reckless homicide.
And I was really surprised when that wasn't classified as a premeditated murder.
Almost a year later, the case went to trial, and prosecutors argued that Kaylee recklessly caused Kuston's death. Her defense counsel argued Kaylee was defending herself.
I don't feel like she was fearing for her life. She wasn't fearing for her life at all. In fact, she made it known that she wasn't scared of him.
The trial lasted 3 days. The verdict came in 3 hours. Guilty.
We, the jury, fixed the defendant's sentence of reckless homicide confinement to state penitentiary for a term of 4 years.
I believe that was a slap in the face. This man is gone, and she only got 4 years. The shoe was on the other foot. Kuston would have been cell blocked the courtroom before his trial even began.
Mandy wants people to remember that domestic violence does not discriminate. And to Kaylee, she says,
You may be able to carry on a future after you get out, but I hope you always remember the future you stole from my son.
Kyle hopes, good or bad, he'll always have his father's love.
Just doing good things, succeeding, and succeeding at everything I do. And even if I do something bad, that he would realize that overall I'm still his son and he would always love me.
Kaylee was sentenced to 4 years. She actually served only 2 and was released and is now out of the public eye. You probably remember the story of Sherri Papini. She's the woman who faked her own kidnapping near Redding, California. The hoax sucked up resources and it grabbed all these headlines. But there's another woman from the same area who is actually missing, and it's not getting the same attention. And that case still has very few answers.
I'm sorry. It's just really surreal that we're doing this right now.
Stacy Smart, a loving mother of 4, somehow disappears without a trace.
She was free. She was nurturing.
She seemed very happy, and we were making plans to get together for Halloween.
But Nicole says when her grandmother tried calling Stacy in the weeks leading up to Halloween, her home phone had been disconnected.
My grandmother was concerned at that point. It had been throughout a couple weeks before Halloween.
When Halloween came and went without any word from Stacy, the family took action.
We went to the house, nobody was there, we left a note. Please contact us, it's an emergency, it's important. And no call from her.
But there was one person Stacy's family hoped would have some answers.
She was living with her boyfriend, Tony Brand. She was with him for about 6 months. A month before she had gone missing, she did call my grandmother, and she was crying on the phone and said that Tony had been cheating on her.
The two reportedly patched things up, but roughly a month after that tearful call, Stacy was gone.
So from there, I decided to file a missing persons report.
The date was November 2nd, the same day Sherri Papini's faked kidnapping was reported, a story that blew up national headlines, leaving Stacy's disappearance virtually unknown. A week later, the family meets with Stacy's boyfriend, Tony.
How do you wake up one day and just not know where your live-in girlfriend is? And he's like, I don't know, she left. I made a few phone calls to people that have contact with Tony and Stacy on a daily basis. And when they told me that Tony had told him that Stacy had moved out 2 weeks prior, and that my sister had gotten violent and he had to make her move.
He was asked to take a lie detector test. He said, Tony Brand, I will pay for a lawyer for you to take the test. He agreed to take a test. He set up a time and date to take it.
But when that time came,
Tony Brand never showed up for the test.
Regardless of reason, refusing the test was Tony's right. And with no evidence that a crime had even taken place, the family shifted focus to finding Stacy.
We had 4 public searches as well as numerous private searches, starting from the residence and expanding out from there.
At least 50 volunteers from the community showed up, but there was one notable absence: Tony Brand.
He stopped by the first search for about 3 minutes, gave a flash drive with some pictures on it to Melissa, and then left and got new tires on his truck that day.
Though Tony Brand remained a person of interest, his attorney had this to say. Tony was in a loving, intimate relationship with Stacy, which ended with as much mystery to him as anyone else. He has cooperated fully with the investigators in this case and is as afraid for Stacy as any of her other loved ones.
Everybody's a person of interest, but naturally, being the last person that we have confirmed to have seen her, we're obviously looking into that angle. Besides the polygraph, he's cooperated. He allowed us into his house on multiple occasions prior to us even going there with a search warrant. He's been cooperative up until that point of the polygraph.
But with no actual evidence, Deputy Sheriff Ford can't say for certain whether there was any foul play.
I'm hopeful that either we find Miss Smart safe and happy and with a reasonable explanation for why she disappeared, and if that's not the case, I'm anticipating an arrest.
We need answers. Somebody has to know something.
And there's one thing the family wants more than anything else.
Closure, however it may come.